Welcome to the Higher Self Club podcast. I'm your host, Shay, and together we'll dive deep into topics such as mindset, manifestation, money, business, and wellness so you can feel expanded and empowered to create a life of joy and freedom. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. Let's get into it. Oh, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Higher Self Club podcast. My name is Shay. I am so excited to be back in your ear holes with another episode. I feel like it's been so long. The start of this year has just disappeared. And I feel like people always say that every year. From January through to March just always seems to kind of like slip through your fingers. It's just so busy. But it's really just gotten me in this deep reflection mode, just seeing how fast time is going. It's made me realize that unless we pause and take the space to get clear on exactly where we want to go and we take control of where we're going, then life will just take control for us. And I felt a little bit like that at the start of this year. I felt like when there's so much going on, you're just kind of paddling to keep your head above water rather than being super intentional about what you're doing on the day-to-day. So I feel so relieved to be coming back into my body, to be feeling more grounded and being able to move through my days with a little bit more intention. So I wanted to start this episode with a little bit of a life update of what the past couple of months have looked like for me. And then I want to speak to you about something that I'm very passionate about. And I'm hoping by the end that you feel really lit up and activated and ready to maybe make a big change in your life if that's something that you've been considering, or maybe it will just plant some seeds for you to think about things a little bit differently. So I'm really excited to jump into it. But firstly, a little life update from me. We left off last episode, it was December, and at the end of December, sorry, I was having a sip of my matcha. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see my really cute mug. My friend bought this for me for my birthday one year, and I swear it just adds so much joy to my day when I can have my matcha out of a cute mug with some rose petals on top, of course. So December 17th, I think it was, like a week before Christmas, I went into hospital to complete my treatment for thyroid cancer. So what that involved was being in a hospital room for 3 days in isolation. And I had to take this one single tablet, and it's a form of radiation. So it was a radioactive tablet. I swallowed the tablet, and then I had to be in isolation because I was technically radioactive. So I needed to stay away from people, which is so wild because here I am swallowing this tablet, but I can't be near other people. It was a very, very bizarre experience, but it's really cool because this type of cancer treatment was the first type of targeted treatment. So this radioactive iodine that I ingested, it only targets specifically thyroid cells. So it was only going through my body and trying to find any leftover microscopic thyroid cells that weren't taken when I got my thyroid removed back in June. So I feel super grateful that it was available compared to something, like chemotherapy where it attacks all your healthy cells as well. This treatment, I responded to it so well. I literally felt completely normal. I didn't notice any side effects, any symptoms. So I just went in there for a couple of days and that was it. And now that whole chapter of my life can come to a close. I just have to get like regular blood tests and scans and things for probably a couple of years. And I also have to take something called thyroxine. So that just replaces the hormone that your thyroid makes because I don't have a thyroid anymore. So that's been a little bit of a roller coaster, just trying to figure out my dose. And I'm still kind of adjusting to that. But I'm going to start the journey of growing my thyroid back, which is medically impossible, but apparently someone using Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations grew their thyroid back. So that's going to be my next little side quest, is growing my thyroid back. I'll keep you updated on that one. But yeah, that was an interesting way to end my year, was to just be able to move on, just say that is done, which I feel so lucky. for. So if you wanted to learn more about that journey, I did do a whole episode about that a couple of episodes back if you wanted to check that out. So that was December, and then obviously like Christmas, I spent a month in Melbourne over December, which was beautiful to be able to spend an extended amount of time with family and friends. And then February was crazy. I turned 30, so I had my 30th birthday, which has been a really interesting experience. Let me know if you've experienced this, if you've turned 30. It's just this next level kind of sense of urgency where it's like, holy shit, I'm 30, and you have all these ideas about where you thought you would be by the time you're 30, which I am very aware of, not slipping into those stories. I just feel this sense of less fucks, like, and less fear about doing the things that I want to do. And it just feels really empowering. And it's just left this like real fire in my belly and this real excitement. I've done so much work through my 20s, just understanding my own patterns and trying different types of things and figuring out what my passions are and figuring out what kind of business I want to start. And now I have clarity. I can just full steam ahead, and that feels so good. So good. So that's been a big, I guess, energy shift inside my body. And then on my 30th birthday, I had a wedding. So we traveled in Victoria to a place called Echuca. All my friends were there. So that was lovely to spend my 30th with a big group of friends at the wedding, which was really fun. And then my younger brother and Daniel, my partner, threw me a surprise birthday party that I was not expecting at all. It caught me by complete surprise. So that happened the week before my birthday. So that was super overwhelming and lovely and exciting. And then also in amongst all this celebration, we've also had some really heavy health challenges in my family that has been really eye-opening and really jarring, and has also sparked my passion for wanting to share what I'm going to share with you today. So yes, there's been lots of reflection, lots going on, but even amongst it all, I was just thinking this morning how good life is for me right now. Like my morning this morning, I woke up early and Daniel and I walked down the road and got a coffee at our favorite coffee shop. And on the way back, there was a farmer's market. So we got a big box of fruit and veggies. And then we went to another farmer's market, an organic market, to pick up some extra things. I got a beautiful big box of all these mixed mushrooms. I'm going to make a mushroom risotto tonight. And then we went to gym. I was on the Stairmaster overlooking the ocean. And I just got thinking, an old version of me, maybe 5 years ago, dreamt of this life now. And now I'm here. It's so easy to become desensitized to it. And it just becomes the new norm. And I was just thinking, this is actually magical. My lifestyle is magical. Where I live is magical. Having access to all this beautiful food. I cooked this beautiful omelette this morning for brekkie with all these beautiful fresh herbs from my herb garden that I somehow haven't killed for the first time in my life. And all these beautiful organic bits and pieces from the market. So I was just thinking how lucky I am, and just having that gratitude for how good things are, even though there's other challenges going on. But gratitude also for a past version of myself for doing the work to get me to where I am now. But in the same token, I also want more. As I mentioned, I have this, like, I say a fire in my belly. I have this really strong nudge moving through me at the moment to do something big. And it can become very easy to slip into these comfortable patterns, your comfortable lifestyle, that you kind of push those other desires aside and think to yourself, oh, I should be grateful for what I have, which is true. You should be grateful. I am grateful for everything that I have, but I also believe that we are humans here on this 3D planet having this human experience. Why not experience all the things that we want to experience? So I just wanted to tell you that you can be so grateful for what you have, and it's still okay to want more. And something that comes to mind when I talk about this is the concept of the grass is greener. I think it's very important to always be aware of, often as humans, we want what we don't have. And I do believe the grass is greener where you water it. So it's like this fine balance between wanting more and also being grateful for what you have. It's like a dance between the two. This year, definitely for me, I am looking at doing some big, exciting things. And I want to take you on that journey and also my process for, I guess, just taking you inside how I'm thinking about things and how I think about this dance between wanting more and being grateful for what you have. So I really want to give you permission to want more, to tap back into your desires, to listen to what your heart is telling you that you really want, and to not be afraid to go for it, because I know it can feel so scary. Something else that really came up for me in turning 30 was this idea of where you should be. And I know a lot of people, a lot of women especially, have this idea that's kind of forced on you by society about what your life should look like, when you should have kids, when you should buy the house, what career you should be in. And it's all these shoulds, and these shoulds have a way of stifling your life force energy. So bringing some awareness to where in your life you're doing what you think you should do rather than what you actually want to do can be a very powerful exercise. So I'll go more into this a little bit later, but that is something that I've been pondering is, what am I doing because I think I should do it? What am I doing because it's the safe thing to do? Where am I valuing stability over living in alignment with what is truly important to me? Sometimes having this conversation with yourself can be super confronting because you're like, holy shit, this isn't actually what I want. And then once you face that reality and you realize this isn't what I want, your intuition, your body is going to keep nudging at you until you do something about it. When I think back, a way that this really showed up in my life is when I initially realized that the career in fashion that I had worked to create for myself, that I've always been so passionate about and that I wanted so bad, when I got there and I realized this isn't what I want anymore, that was so confronting. And what I kind of wrestled with is that idea that I worked so hard to get here. I went to uni, I did the internship, I showed up and worked my way to this position. I have the HEX debt. I've got all this money invested in my education for this career. There's all these things that I did to get to where I was. I was thinking to myself, I've worked so hard to get where I am. How can I throw that all away to start something new? Like, that just seems stupid. But then eventually I came to the realization that, okay, I've spent 2 years at uni. I was lucky I had a shorter course. 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, maybe like 6 years in my career in fashion. All up, that's 8 years. Am I going to stay in this career for another 30 years just because I've invested this 8 years and suffer for another 30 years? Or can I just put that aside and appreciate what that was in my journey and then start something new and spend the next 30 years feeling fulfilled with my everyday life? The way that we're wired as humans, we grasp onto things that we don't want to lose. There's this analogy, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something like humans would expend more energy holding on to $100 to making sure no one else steals their $100 than they would to go out and make $1,000. So we spend so much energy holding on and grasping to what we have than we would going out and creating something new for ourselves. Hopefully that makes sense. I remember when I first heard that analogy, I was like, oh, like the penny dropped. I'll need to find who said it. I'm pretty sure it was Tony Robbins. And I just wasn't willing to sacrifice a whole life of joy and pleasure because I'd spent this 8 years in this one career. And again, I feel like it's just another illusion that humans create to keep ourselves small, because when it comes down to what we're scared of change. And because humans fear change so much, it's wired into us as a survival mechanism. Often what it takes to blast us out of these self-imposed illusions into something new is hitting rock bottom. Often it's when, someone dies or something really bad happens. That's what it takes to shake you out of this kind of haze, this kind of trance that you're moving life through, to see things clearly, to see what it is that you actually want, and to give you the push to actually do something about it. And yeah, that's the unfortunate truth, that that's what it takes for a lot of people. But I want to tell you, you don't have to hit rock bottom to make a big change and to do the thing that you truly want to do. I often think about my grandma on my dad's side, so my dad's mum. So before I was born, her and my grandpa, they ran a dairy farm. So hard work, early mornings, late nights, no holidays. They worked very, very hard, and eventually they got to the point where it was time for them to retire, time for them to finally enjoy the fruits of their labor, to enjoy life outside of all this really hard work. And not long afterwards, one morning, my grandma just didn't wake up. She had a cold or a virus and she went to the doctor. He sent her home to sleep it off and she just never woke up. So she was never able to enjoy life outside of all this really hard work. She was a painter. She loved to create. And unfortunately, her life was cut so short. And just knowing her story has made me so aware of how important it is to live life intentionally, to live life for now, and to not postpone your joy, to not postpone the things that you really want to do, because who knows how long we have. Not to be morbid, but it is true. It's so true. On this topic as well, I've mentioned this a couple of times on this podcast, but there's a beautiful book that I really recommend you go and read, and it's called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. The author is a beautiful woman. Her name's Bronnie Ware, and she is an Australian woman, and she was a palliative care nurse. So she worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people at the end of their life, caring for them as they moved into the end of their life. And she found that out of all these people, there were 5 main regrets that they all had. And she writes about it, and it's just a beautiful book, and it's such incredible wisdom. And it's this kind of wisdom that has really helped me to see clearly and to be intentional with how I want to feel in my life. So I really recommend you read that. I was actually shook. She actually posted a photo recently, and she was standing at the end of my street at one of the restaurants. I was like, oh my God, I would have died if I saw her. She was with, what's his name? Hold on, I have to look it up. Oh, Dr. Gabor Mate. The Myth of Normal. I thought he wrote The Body Keeps Score. Ignore me. Anyway, she was at the end of my street. I'm like, that I would have passed out if I saw her. She's amazing. Anyway, great book. Highly, highly, highly recommend. It's genuinely a life-changing read. So next I wanted to go into some signs that you might be experiencing right now that are little invitations or little nudges or little suggestions that you might be ready to grow and evolve past your current circumstances. Or there might be some area in your life that maybe you're ready to make some changes that are going to feel more aligned and more juicy and invite more joy and more of that sparkly energy into your life. So I'm going to go through 6 of these signs. You might be experiencing some of these, you might be experiencing all of them. So first we'll go into what you might be experiencing, and then afterwards we'll talk about what you can do about it, okay? So the first sign that perhaps you are ready to expand and ready to maybe make some kind of small or big change in your life is the things that used to excite you now feel like obligations. So I know I really experienced this, as I was mentioning before, in my career in fashion. The work, the environment, it really initially excited me so much. I used to love going to work. I used to get so much energy and so much joy. And then eventually, as it became more unaligned with me, I found that it was beginning to really drain my energy. So that was a sign that maybe this wasn't aligned anymore. Somewhere else that I just came to mind that this might show up in a less serious way is something like going to a Pilates studio. Like, I know I've gone to Pilates studios before and it's been my place and I've loved going there every single day. And then it eventually gets to a point where I'm like, oh, this isn't that exciting anymore. I think I need to change things up to keep things fun and interesting. So for me, I need a lot of variety in my life. I love new experiences, new environments, and the way that I can tell that something needs to change is that feeling of excitement when it kind of begins to dwindle and it feels like something I should do rather than something that I want to do. So maybe just have a little think if there's anything in your life that maybe used to excite you, but now you kind of have that, like that kind of energy where you're just feeling like your shoulders slump a little bit and you think, I don't really feel like doing this, but I feel like I have to. You don't have to. Number 2 is this is kind of similar, but you feel exhausted by things that never used to drain you. So this kind of plays on the same thing. It's things that you just feel tired by, things that you used to feel energized by. So it's quite similar, but again, for me, something that has been a big indicator, a big telltale of things that aren't aligned in my life is when I feel fatigue. When I feel fatigued through my days, once I've ruled out, like low iron or any nutritional or sleep issues, I know that there's parts of my life that are misaligned. Number 3 is you keep fantasizing about a completely different life. So this is a very obvious one. If you find yourself dreaming about something else or living somewhere else or a different career, or maybe you see someone online who's living this kind of life and you feel that little bit of envy or jealousy, that is a really good indicator that maybe that thing is meant for you too. If you ever feel envious or jealous of anyone, that is a great indicator that that is something that you desire. And if you desire that thing, it is meant for you too. They say, I think it's, what's her name? Catherine Zenkina, she's of Manifestation Babe. She had a really good quote. It was like, if it's desired by you, it's destined for you. So if you find yourself fantasizing about a different life, that is a good indicator that maybe there's something new for you to step into. Number 4 is that conversations around you feel painfully small. So this is a very obvious indicator of growth and a very strong sign that maybe it's time to start expanding your social circle. If you find that the people that you're hanging out with, maybe your topics of conversation aren't aligning, or maybe they feel really surface level and you're wanting to talk about deeper things or just different topics, then that is an indicator that maybe you have grown, or maybe you're looking for growth and you're needing to put yourself in spaces and around different people that are more aligned with this version that you're wanting to step into. Number 5 is you're constantly questioning yourself. So if you're finding that in the day-to-day you're questioning yourself a lot, maybe more than usual, this shows that you're really up in your head and you're maybe a little bit disconnected from your body. Your body is where your intuition lives. So when you are connected to your body, decision-making feels easy and you have more clarity about the path that you're wanting to take. If you find yourself constantly overthinking all of your decisions, it might mean that maybe you're feeling a little bit dysregulated and maybe you're more so following those patterns of, I should be doing this, should I be doing this? Why aren't I enjoying this? This doesn't feel too good anymore. Should I be doing something else? And when you're in that really kind of disoriented, rattled state, that's an invitation that perhaps you are needing to come back into your body and to realign with what's important to you and kind of audit your life for where you're experiencing that misalignment, which we'll go into soon. And the 6th indication that maybe you're ready to expand is you have this quiet but niggling voice that keeps asking you, is this it? It keeps nudging at you. There's something else for you out there. And if you are experiencing this, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's this subtle voice that is gentle. Maybe for you it's loud, but usually it's gentle and it's consistent and it's persistent. Maybe it's something that you think about when you wake up in the middle of the night or first thing in the morning or right before when you go to bed. Maybe it's just this like sense of dis-ease, like, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. That is your intuition. That's your body saying to you, hey, you're ready for something more. If you're experiencing any of these things and you know you need to make a change, but you haven't made that change yet, don't beat yourself up about it. Change is fucking scary. And that's why for so many of us, we stay comfortable. We don't make the change because our nervous system registers any kind of change as danger. As humans, we are literally wired to stay in a known hell than step into an unknown future. And we get caught in this trap of stability and mistake that for alignment because our nervous system craves safety so much. So this is why this is such an important conversation, because unless we talk about this and we bring a conscious awareness to what it is that you want, it's very easy to just stay where you are. It's very easy to just ignore those desires and to ignore what you truly want because your nervous system is like, please stay right here. It feels warm and cozy here. We don't want to move. We don't want to change. We have to create safety in the body and teach our nervous system that it is safe to step into something new. And what I've come to realize is there is nothing more unsafe than staying where you're not supposed to be and getting 20 years down the track and looking back and thinking, where is time gone? What have I been doing? I wish I had had the courage to make some different decisions. So whatever it is for you, if there is some kind of change that you've been quietly pondering, whether it be leaving a career that's not aligned, starting a business, entering new motherhood, or breaking up with someone you know isn't right for you, but you're so scared of the alternative, whatever it is for you, know that there is so much magic on the other side of this scary decision. There is so much magic on the other side of making those shifts in your life to become more aligned with who you truly are. And I know it's so scary because it's so much easier to stay in this situation that we know and that we know we can just be comfortable in. But what is so much more uncomfortable is getting down the track and just wishing that you had done things differently. So this is your wake up call now, and I'm here with you in it. I'm making some scary decisions too, and we're going to do it together. So before making any big decisions, the first step is to get clarity on where in your life maybe you're out of alignment. And then once we get that clarity, you can start taking action and nurturing your nervous system to move through that fear. So let's talk about 3 ways that you can get some real clarity about where in your life maybe you're feeling a little bit misaligned. Because right now you might be feeling like something doesn't feel quite right. And I know life can feel better than this, but I'm not really sure what it is that's the mismatch. So this is how you're going to get clarity. So also I should mention, if you don't know what alignment is, so alignment is where when you are aligned, it means that your life, your job, your relationships, your routines, your habits, everything that makes up you and your life matches up with what you truly value in life. So when those things match up, you will find that you move through life with more ease. You naturally magnetize the right people, opportunities, experiences towards you. You find that life just feels really juicy and things feel easy and flowing. So that is what alignment is. So we're going to figure out how to create more of that in your life. So first way that we're going to do that is if you go and you look up Dr. Demartini and look up his values determination quiz. You do that quiz, that is firstly going to help you figure out what your top values are. I can't stress enough how important and how life-changing this process is. It doesn't take long. I wish it was something that was taught in school. I think my life would be completely different. So this is like one of the first steps that I do with all my clients, because once you know what your top values are, it becomes a compass for all of your decision making. It becomes a compass for figuring out where in your life maybe you are a bit mismatched. So once you figure out your values, you can then go and look at all the different areas of your life, friendships, family, career, money, health, any of your main areas of your life. You can figure out what those look like for you and just look at what the reality is of your life right now, just say in your career, for example, and look at your values and just compare the two, and you'll be able to see where perhaps there are some mismatches. And this is a very good indicator of where your energy would probably be being drained. So this is a very, very powerful exercise. Number 2, so another step that you can do to start getting some real clarity. This is an exercise by Louise L. Hay. She was a beautiful woman and she wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life. It's an absolute classic, highly recommend. So she has a exercise in there, and I'm going to take you through the steps of this exercise. So step 1 is you take a piece of paper. It's best to do this handwritten. And at the top of the piece of paper, you will write, I should, ... And underneath that, you're going to list all of the things that you think you should be doing or should be achieving. So make a list of I should, all the things you feel like you should be doing. And then once that's finished, you're going to ask yourself for each thing that you wrote, why should I? Why should I? Once you finish that, you're going to replace each should with, if I really wanted to, I could. If I really wanted to, I could. And then the last step is to just begin to reflect gently. Why haven't you done it? Is it because of fear? Is it because of doubt? Is it because of people pleasing? Is it because you actually don't really want that thing? So this is a very powerful exercise, and I definitely recommend her book, You Can Heal Your Life. And then the third little step that you can take to start getting some more clarity in your life is by asking your heart. Now, this sounds a bit weird, but I promise you it's very powerful. So in meditation, or if you journal, or you can just sit and contemplate on this question through your week, just ask yourself, what does my heart want? What does my heart want? And it's a weird experience, but it trains you to think from your body rather than your mind. So this helps you get out of your mind and down into your body to tap into your intuition. So just sit with it. It might be good to do over a couple of different days and just trust that your body knows. Your body knows what you truly want. And just see what comes forward for you. So once you have found a little bit of clarity, you have identified what areas of your life are out of alignment with who you truly are and what you truly want, it'll start to become quite clear about some things that you need to change. And this is where you might begin to feel the fear bubble up inside your body and the panic begin to arise. So this is where nervous system regulation comes into play and is so important. And let me tell you from experience, this piece is a game changer. I did all this work where I got clarity on what my values were. I understood what I needed to change in my life, what was out of alignment, and then I just started changing things. I quit my job, I moved overseas, then I moved home, I moved interstate, and I was doing all this crazy shit, and I wasn't looking after my nervous system, and it got completely fried. My hair was falling out, like I had genuine bald patches. I was having all these weird allergic reactions, my lips were swelling up. My body was just screaming at me. So this is why now I'm so passionate and why my offering my 12-week program is so focused on bringing this clarity, this vision about what you want and pairing it with nervous system regulation, because there's no point having this big vision and all these things you want to do if you don't have your health and you don't have a body and a nervous system to support you and carry you through to that vision. What does this look like when I say nervous system regulation? So there's lots of different things that you could do, whether it be breath work, meditation, EFT tapping is one of my favorites, dancing, shaking, making sure the basics are met. Actually, number one, just making sure you're getting enough sleep, you're getting the right nutrition, and that you're moving your body. So making sure those are out of the way. Hydrating properly, just doing all these things to look after your body. So if you think of your body like a garden, so your body is like the rich soil that your dreams and your vision can be planted into, they can then root down from, and then sprout into something beautiful. So to tend to the rich soil, you need to tend to your nervous system through doing all these beautiful things, finding what works for you to look after your body. And then when you plant these big visions, these big dreams into the rich soil, they have the space and the nourishment to root down, to grow some really strong roots, and then to sprout into a beautiful garden. Without the rich soil, these seeds are going to have a really hard time growing, or they might grow really fast and then die because the roots aren't strong enough. These have all been such big learnings for me. And I hope that this has all made sense. I've really been speaking from my heart, so sorry if it feels like I've been jumping around a little bit. But these are the learnings that have really informed my offering, which is my 12-week program, really pairing all this mindset work and this big vision work with creating a really supported, nourished nervous system. And the two is just a match made in heaven. The vision is like really this masculine kind of structure. The vision, the finding alignment, taking action, and then we pair it with intuition and creating safety in the body. And all of a sudden it's like this juicy explosion that just allows you to be so magnetic and in flow and energized, and allows you to move towards these big goals without the burnout, which is so important. So in my next episode, on that note, I wanted to do a little business update. I've started a little series called Business Diaries, which there's one episode so far. So I wanted to do another episode that just takes you through my business journey and where I'm at. Just because I find that a lot of people online, you see where they are and their success, but you don't really see the journey that it took to get there. So I'm really passionate about sharing the journey because I feel like this is the most valuable part. And I'm such an open book. I'm happy to share everything if I know that it's going to help you. Otherwise, if there's something else that you are curious about, if you have a question, if you would like a certain topic, please message me on Instagram. Let me know. Message me if something in this episode resonated with you. If you have any questions about this episode, I want to talk to you. I want conversation. I want human connection. To be honest, AI has been freaking me out. I've been really thinking about what life is going to look like in the next couple of years. And I think what I'm really craving is that human connection and really talking to you. And I think sometimes, especially with podcasting and creating a lot of content, sometimes it's like, hello, is anybody listening? In saying that, some people have messaged me recently saying that they've listened to my podcast, and I'm like, I just forget that actually anyone's going to listen. So it's a funny little dichotomy. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I hope that you got something from this episode. Please know that you can have anything you want in this life. Don't let the little stories about what you think you should do or what you think is possible for you keep you small. It's time to break out of them. I'm going to leave you with this question. I've asked you this question before on the podcast, but I think it's a powerful one. I want you to ponder on this. If you were the main character in a movie that was your life, what would the audience be screaming at you to do right now? I'm just going to leave that one with you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye.